Our seniors lost their houses in the late 90s because of predatory lending. And that's what gave a number of people the idea to start having these variable rate mortgages, suckering people in to the mortgage crisis, which it inevitably became, and it was a way that people with a lot of money took advantage of people with a little money. And we saw these horrible situations. And in the African American and Hispanic community, they even went a step further. They didn't even stop to assess how little money you had. They assessed how connected you were to the financial institutions. So we had a lot of young African American men and women came out of college, got some good jobs, got a mortgage, making $100,000, $125,000 a year. Many of them would never have come by the National Action Network because they thought they were, beyond that, above that. They don't need construction anymore because I'm working for Merrill Lynch. How's that working out? So, what happened was, what they didn't know is they didn't really, while they were able to pay for the mortgage, they didn't have the understanding of how finance and how home ownership works to such an extent that they could be duped into these variable rate mortgages. They thought they had a deal, and all of a sudden it ballooned out and they couldn't pay for it anymore. So the actuaries and the analyzers who were suckering these people in not only assessed how much money they had, they assessed how little they knew about the financial institutions. And Malcolm Smith, minority leader of the Senate, was telling me that when they have these meetings, these foreclosure meetings out in Queens, which is one of the most attacked places in the United States, that when a lot of people don't come to the meetings, they're embarrassed. They can't believe this could happen to them. They don't want to admit that they have so many credit problems. They don't want to admit that they're in a financial emergency, and these kind of forums that are sponsored by Senator Smith and Reverend Sharpton, it's hard to come back after you thought you had passed people, didn't have to bother with them anymore. And, but the times actually call for it. But who would ever have known that a family that couldn't pay its mortgage in Buffalo could bring down an investment bank in Berlin? Whoever knew that families that were living in crisis in Brooklyn could be the reason investment banks went out of business right over the bridge on Wall Street? Because it's just a spiritual lesson for us. The more you keep putting people down, the more you're putting yourself down. So the same individuals who have built and hoodwinked and cajoled people who had less than them or knew less than them at the time found out that poverty is coming up. That flood is rising, and it is overtaking Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, AIG, the list goes on and on. And now they're asking for $700 billion that is called a bailout. Now I remember we used to call that welfare. I'll tell you something. I support the economic package because the barn is burning. The barn is burning. But I always supported welfare. So it's no problem for me to support the bailout. But I wanted to make a suggestion to the House of Representative members as they're debating this, and you're not going to hear this in any debate. Do you know how much it would cost to bail out every foreclosed homeowner in this country?